So today we will be discussing inside out healing, transforming your life through the power of the presence. And this is a book by Richard Moss. Maybe a lot of you have heard him, seen him. He's very powerful. And this book is all about, well, let me just read to you the foreword of the book. If you or a loved one is facing a health challenge, relationship crisis, or any situation in which you experience emotional suffering, this book will help you understand and remedy all of that. Okay, that emotional suffering would help you understand and remedy what you unconsciously do that makes your situation more difficult. And he writes, it will teach you the way to realize a timeless inner power and to be restored to a sense of deeper trust in yourself. It will show you how to access the universal energy that can immediately enliven you. And that's a lot. That's a whole lot to dive into today. And so bear with me on this one. And we better get to it. The entire premise of the book, it is very rich and very deep, is to release the stories that we tell ourselves about whatever a situation, a condition, a circumstance might be, and return again and again, because we're going to be doing this again and again to the present moment. And we've heard that so much, but we always need a reminder. I know I do, because my mind just goes off and I got to bring it back to the present moment, where I know all is well. Because in the present moment is where the divine lives. That's where we can fully connect with the whole consciousness of the universe. Holmes tells us in Science of Mind, time and space are unknown in mind. The past and the present are one. This is Holmes again, it is the present moment where God's love abounds. It is the present moment where the energy of life convenes. It is the present moment where divine intelligence lives. It is the present moment where wholeness exists. And wholeness simply means there is nothing missing. And there is nothing truly missing within us. We are whole, complete, and perfect at the very core of our being. And here's an empowering and amazing idea that I really want us to think about, ponder, and contemplate. Every instant you are fully present to the presence, the present moment is a moment of restoring yourself to wholeness. Why? Because when you turn your attention away from your stories, the stuff you tell yourself, and turn to the present moment, you enter a limitless field of intelligence and love that is the great healing source of all. It truly is. That's why meditation is so important, because that's when we are living in the moment. We bring our mind back when it wanders, and we stay connected. And we just breathe. That breath is everything. We just breathe in the presence of the divine. All atoms and molecules and cells of your body actually, at that moment, reorganize themselves in a greater or lesser degree of wholeness, according to the presence you are actually focusing on. Are you focusing on the now? Are you focusing on what's going to happen in 5 or 10 or 10 years from now? Are you focusing on the past? Are you focusing on the now moment? And I remember an affirmation that I learned many years ago. The presence of God is my point of power. Say that with me. The presence of God is my point of power. And it is. Because once we align with what we really are, it's not even really aligning, it's recognizing that existence within us that is all powerful, all knowing. All is possible in that present alignment, that knowing. And it's not something to learn about here today, so none of this is something, because I'm going to offer you a tool, and it's from the book. And I think it's really a powerful tool to learn how to return to the present. Here's the deal. This amazing tool, which I have learned from the book, is not something you just learn in one moment. You won't learn it all today. It's a matter of repeating it and taking it into your life and living it. It's also not a tool to be mastered in one moment. It's a tool to be practiced and applied over and over again. The tool is called, I don't want you to miss it, the mandala of life. The mandala of life, okay? It's actually the mandala of being. Mandala is a beautiful word. It really is a beautiful word. And it's a Sanskrit word. Do you know what it means, anyone? Anyone? We say it over here. Yes, what does it mean?
I think it's the art where you have a center.
It's the circle, yes. Very good, thank you. When a very brilliant woman over there just told us, it's a circle. It's a circle of life, which is really a spiral. As the description for our Martha Creek's workshop, everything is not linear. It's in a circle, it's spiraling. There is no beginning, there is no end. But for this tool, it's going to be a circle, okay? So it has been a universal symbol over the millennia, particularly in Eastern spirituality. In those traditions, mandalas are forms of sacred art. And if you've ever seen the high holy practice of monks as they are making these beautiful sand art out of sand, colored sand, and these beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pictures form. And then it's all impermanent anyway because they blow it away at the end. But it's a realization of our timeless self that this mandala is within all of us. And this tool in Moss's mandala of being is a way to model how our thinking minds operate relative to being aware in the present moment. That's what this is about. It teaches us to consistently live in the now. The mandala will help you wake up. Live more in that present moment instead of in your story. So many people just live in the story. I'm always working to come back to the now moment because our minds are very creative and have huge imaginations. So we always have these great big stories of what will be, what has been. You know, most of it is, I want to say not categorizing, but catastrophizing how would you say that?
Catastrophe.
Catastrophizing. If I'm not looking at it, I can't say. Catastrophizing what our future or what our past has been. And I'm here to tell us that with this practice and with the breath work, we can bring ourselves peacefully into this now moment, consistently. And here's a fact of the human experience. Major events in our lives, such as serious illnesses, injury, divorce, loss of a loved one, financial ruin, these things are part of living this life, and they are intensely challenging when you are focusing just on this now moment. But we take that with us into the now moment. We just don't live it. But we have to acknowledge there's a lot of pain in life, and that's okay. That's what we're here for, to learn from those pains. But here's a thought-provoking idea. They do not cause our greatest suffering. The events themselves do not cause our greatest suffering. Our greatest suffering often comes from not the situation itself, but what we tell ourselves about it, the story we make up about it. And I know for myself, until I was in my 40s, I would tell myself this one same story over and over and over again, so I was always the victim. And that was kind of, but if I think about it, worse than the actual situation itself. Because I kept it going for 25, 35, 45, 30 years after it was over. So 30 years I was reliving it and reliving it and reliving it. So I'm saying, when we bring and know, when we wake up to the great I am, when we wake up to the infinite potential of the universe, all things are possible, and we don't ever have to be a victim again. We just don't have to be. It's one thing to be unable to continue, let's say, an athletic career, really strong. I read about these stories, these young people that go through a catastrophic injury, and then they go on to do something greater. Well, it can be that, or they could live with the idea that life is just not worth living anymore. Why should I go on? Everything I love has been taken away from me. It's a matter of choice. The way to minimize the suffering is to practice the presence, to harness the power of love to the now moment, and just to really know, just to know that all things are possible. It's our thoughts are creative. Let's create the good life. Let's create the good life. The power of the mandala of being is to notice when you're in pain, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, whatever pain it is, where you are living. Are you living in the now moment or somewhere else? Now, if it's taking place in the now moment and you're in excruciating pain, you're in pain. Feel it, it's there, okay? But it's the stories that linger on forever afterwards about it. That's what we don't want to be in. That's the mandala of being, is being in the now moment. That passes and we return to wholeness. We return to wholeness. Today is going to be a mental one. We are going to create in our mind's eye the mandala, and then we will use it for a current situation that we might have. So imagine, if you will, a circle. The circle represents your life, all of it, beginning to end. Inside the circle is another circle. And written inside that circle is the word now. So you have a big circle, and inside is a smaller circle. Now is written right in there. When you are in this central now, you are fully engaged in the present moment. You are present to exactly what is. And we will return to this place in a minute. But first I want to share with you the other places on the mandala. So we're going to think of this as a clock, okay? A big circle is a clock. Think of the arrow pointing upward and away from now till 12 o'clock. That's the future. The future position represents any moment when you are going through a painful, challenging situations that then you begin to tell yourself stories about the future, which we do. Since the future is always imaginary, think of that. The future is always imaginary. The future stories will either generate positive anticipation with emotions of wonderfulness, happiness, hopefulness, eagerness, or negative anticipation, such as worry, anxiety, or even terror. If you've ever had a full-blown anxiety attack, you know what the terror really means. But usually, and the terror in an anxiety attack usually comes from a thought, that we leave it unchecked, and it grows until you physically can't hold it anymore. If you've ever had an anxiety attack, that's what it feels like. But usually when we are in a stressful, painful situation, our futurizing isn't about something positive, pleasant. Not a pleasant outcome, usually. It's more about awfulizing. Got it out. How about that? Got it out. Opposite of that is 6 o'clock. So the arrows move now to 6 o'clock. You have the past. This position represents your thinking mind carrying you in the past. And you identify with the thoughts about specific memories. Past stories will either generate a sense of pleasant reminiscence. For example, remembering something that made you proud or happy. Or a sense of nostalgia and sadness because you are no longer, or because they are no longer, so we miss them. Oh, the good old days. I know, I'm guilty of this. When I used to be able to stand up straight and walk for miles. You know, and how does that make me feel in the present moment? Not as good as I could. And then there's a more extreme where you go to situations that make you feel guilty. This is in the past. Blame, regret. That's a big one from the past. Resentment. Now we go to 3 o'clock. You have a focus on you. Now, not you, the outer you. Everything around us is the you. We're the me. And this is in his book, by the way, so I'm trying to describe this illustration. You identify your beliefs and judgment about other people, or anything else you can think of, your career, the situation you are in, money, politics, whatever it is. The list really is endless. These stories will either elevate or diminish the person, or you are thinking, or the thing that you are thinking about, because this is about the outer world. we think of the politics, and we think of the outer world, it can bring us to our knees. So in this now moment, say it to ourselves, all is well. In this now moment, all is well. Instead of futurizing. And you will experience emotions ranging from appreciation, adulation, and admiration, or to the rage, resentment, jealousy, hate, hurt. And finally, we get to 3 o'clock. Is it 3? No, it's 9 o'clock, because it's over here. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. So we get to 9 o'clock, and does anyone know what 9 o'clock is going to be about? Me.
Oh, good.
It's about me. It's about you. You, no, that's the other one. Me. We're all one. Me. So this position represents the emotional quality you experience as a result of identifying with your judgments about yourself. What do we think about ourselves? Do we think with these beautiful, gorgeous, brilliant lights? Do we think of ourselves as absolutely fabulous? Or not? Me stories can lead you to feelings of superiority. We've seen people like that. Arrogance, aloofness, haughtiness. 2, inferiority, sadness, inadequate, unwanted, unlovable. So Richard Moss writes this in his book. Everyone got that visual of the circle? Try to explain it clearly. If I had a PowerPoint, you could see what it was talking about. But he writes this in his book. The mandala of being will help you understand how often the thoughts going through your head often weaken and hurt you. It will give you a meaning of becoming aware and waking up right at that moment. When you are being captured by a thought or a story that would otherwise drag you into stressful, emotional quagmire, even thoughts that bring hope or a pleasant reminiscence, while they become welcome compared to those that frighten or depress you, do not bring as much, he says, wisdom or that do not bring as much intuition, wisdom, or healing energy as when you rest in the present. And the presence being the pure consciousness of all that is. Similarly, he says, holding warm and positive thoughts of another person will not reveal the surprising depth of love or compassion that can suddenly arise when you are really present with somebody and see that individual as she or he really is, not what we make up about them. And so our practice then, this is a big practice in life, to really become aware of what our story is that we are just made up about someone, something, because we do that. And so our presence is to notice when we are in the future or the past, you or me story, and return again and again and again to the now. And Moss also writes this: when you are anchoring your attention in the present, you are not immune to pain, but what you feel is the genuine, unadulterated feeling that accompanies whatever is happening right in that moment. Without stories. There's no stories yet. It's just the actual experience without the reality manufactured by your thinking. It goes on. Your actual feeling and actual experience do not divide you or cut you off from life. What is never worse than what you can imagine it to be. That's it. We imagine sometimes it can be so much worse. And he continues, after a period of increasing your awareness and presence by using this practice, the process of waking up in the middle of any story that you've been telling yourself will happen automatically. It starts to become a habit. And this directly affects the quality of your life and health far more than you can possibly imagine. So you can see how things happen in life, and some of them are not, they don't feel good. But we can make them so much worse with our stories and our thoughts going down the rabbit hole, as they call it. We don't want to go down there. So the only way is to take that breath, which I'm going to go through a little process now. Now bring yourself to this now moment, where you just breathe. And I'm going to invite you now to close your eyes and think of something that might be causing you pain or worry. Think of the future, the past, you and me. And identify, now I know we're doing this quickly, you can do this slowly. Identify what is the story that you've been telling yourself. Now turn your attention, your focus, to your heart. To bring focus to your heart, I ask that you put your fingers or your hands over your heart. It just brings the awareness to a deeper level. And it is such a comforting, to me this is very comforting to put my hands over my heart. Now with no pressure of doing it incorrectly or correctly, you have your attention gently focused on your heart. Feel that heart. Next, consciously slow down your breathing. So we're going to count 5 seconds in, hold for 5 seconds, and out for 5 seconds. So hold it. And exhale. Pause. And let's do it again. Inhale. Hold it. And exhale. And just pause. Next, consciously stay in that moment and feel safe, appreciated. Feel gratitude and compassion. And let us stay with those feelings for just a few moments. At home, you can do this for 5 minutes. And then just be present to what is, remembering the words that Moss wrote. Whatever it is never worse than what you might imagine it to be. Continue to hold your hands over your heart. Deeply breathing. Take this in. All is well in this now moment. I am at peace in this now moment. I am loved in this now moment. Fully realize that the stories are not present in this space. The isness of life resides here. It resides here. And you can return at any time to the breath of this now moment. So when you're ready, you can return to the room, and I'm just going to leave you in that space and stay, and so it is. So you just stay there.